guys, and welcome to Odds on Europa League. We are going to analyze the second leg of the last 16 round, every single game with Dani Fisichella and Alvaro Romeo. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hello, guys.
And of course, with every one of you, you can ask any question to our guys. Leave a comment in the video, and you also will have the chance to win a £10 free bet with Novibet. And do not forget to click on the like button if you enjoy the video, subscribe to our channel, and click on the bell to get all the notifications whenever we do these live videos, like today, for instance, with the Europa League, a competition that we love and that gave us some surprises just 1 week ago. And we're going to start with Arsenal Olympiacos. We have to say that I think we all thought that Arsenal was going to suffer at El Pireo in Athens, but they won comfortably. 1-3. There was a comment actually saying that we never trust Arsenal, but it's very difficult to trust this team this season. Now they won even the derby against the Spurs in the Premier League, and they have a huge advantage here. They will qualify. For sure, the question is, Dani, will they win this game? The odds are very low for Arsenal, 1.45 probably. That's why we shouldn't take them.
Probably they're going to win. Certainly they're going to qualify. But because we're talking about betting, why wasting your unit, wasting your money on a 1.44 bet is too low? Let's try to go for something a little bit more adventurous. First of all, an analysis of Arsenal. I think since a month and a half, they started approaching games in a different way. They are more positive. They play nice 1-2 passes next to the box. The fact that they beat Tottenham without their star man, without Aubameyang, shows that the team is definitely improving, and Arteta can also take the difficult decisions, of course, because he was left out because of some disciplinary issues. We still don't know if he will play against Olympiacos. They only lost one of the last 9 against Man City, so they are obviously in good form, and they got basically more quality than Olympiacos. Winning away in Greece is never easy. So, the only bad omen for them is that Olympiacos has won the last 2 trips to the Emirates. Actually, last year they knocked out Arsenal in a similar fashion after losing the first game, but I don't think this is the case. Let's go for Arsenal to score in both halves, 220.
Aubameyang, that I saw a tweet actually with his fancy car in the streets of London, arriving really late. Alvaro, what do you think here? Is a deal done for Arsenal for sure, but what bet we can make, we can place in this game?
I think that Aubameyang should start cycling to start with. Number 2, I think that Arsenal, they have set their eyes in this competition because they believe that they can qualify for the Champions League through the Europa League, and this is a possibility. I mean, in the Premier League, they are 10 points off the Champions League spots. Chelsea is 4th, Arsenal is very far away from them, and let's don't forget that this club doesn't play Champions League football since 2017. I'm going to say that again. They haven't played Champions League football in 4 years. This is Arsenal. Normally, they qualified for the Champions League before with Arsene Wenger for more than 20 years in a row. So they won the North London Derby. Daniele was saying that there have been some improvements in there, more positive football. I like Smith Rowe. I think that he was fantastic against Doherty the other day in the North London Derby. Martin Odegaard is playing very well as well. Thomas Partey is one of the best midfielders in Europe, in my opinion, and he's already getting grips with his best form as well. So good things for Arsenal, definitely. And Olympiacos, even if they believe, they will have to win here 3-0. I mean, a 2-0 away victory is not enough for them. So it's so difficult that I don't see Olympiacos scratching here a progress to the next round. It's almost impossible. I know that in the weekend, players like El Arabi, like Valbuena, like Bruma, rested or at least didn't start, which is probably because Pedro Martins is thinking that they can still make a bit of a difference at the Emirates Stadium. But still, I find it so difficult for Olympiacos to go through. It's almost impossible. So in here, if anything, look at this odd. It's kind of interesting. A double chance for Olympiacos just in this game. That pays 3.13. I wouldn't personally back it, but it's there. If Arsenal, for example, takes this game in a relaxed way. And both teams to score is something that I do fancy as well. I mean, if you put more than £1, if you put 3, 4, you're getting, almost multiplied by 2 your bet. You're getting 195 per unit for both teams to score, and I like this one.
It's not an easy game, I think, to place our bets. And Vano is saying Arsenal Asian handicap minus 1.5. Odds are 2.33. So they need to win at least for 2 goals difference to win our bet. Then the other team of London, Tottenham, they are traveling to Zagreb to play against Dinamo Zagreb. They have a good advantage in the first leg, 2-0 with the brace score by Harry Kane. But it's never easy to go to the Balkanic countries playing away in the Croatian League. They are leaders, last 9 home games in the Europa League, 6 victories and 2 draws. So if Zagreb takes the lead, the Spurs might have problems, but of course they are huge favorites to advance in the competitions. But the odds for a Spurs victory here are quite all right. Alvaro, 2.10.
They're all right, yeah, and I do like them. I also like the Asian handicap of minus 1.5 for Tottenham as well. That pays 375. Let me tell you why. I think that, look, number one, the best player in the Europa League probably plays for Spurs, at least to me, Harry Kane. He has scored 26 goals for Spurs this season, and let's don't forget that Harry Kane sometimes is giving a lot of assists as well. He's been quite generous this season. So, but at the same time, Tottenham are a flat track bully. What I mean with this is that since they topped the table in early December, every time they had a game against one of the teams of the top 10 in the Premier League, they have been beaten. They lost against Arsenal last weekend, against Chelsea, against Manchester City, against West Ham United, against Liverpool twice, and against Leicester City. So whenever they have an easy opponent in front of them, they just destroy them. They play with them as if they were a toy in their hands. And this is why players like Son or Harry Kane or Gareth Bale, for example, they've been enhancing their stats lately. I think that Tottenham is a good flat track bully. And against Dinamo Zagreb, they are going to be very daring, very adventurous. They know that they don't have much to lose because they pretty much wrapped it up in London last week. And I think that that's why the Asian handicap of minus 1.5 for Spurs is so good. Dinamo Zagreb, well, we could make many narratives around this team, but the truth is that the last time they played in London, you could see that they didn't have Tottenham's level. I'm sorry. I know that they won 2-0 the last 6 league games, which is great for them, great defending. But when it comes to the European scenario, when it comes to playing the big teams, they are obviously missing something.
For Dinamo Zagreb in London, the best player was the keeper, Livakovic. He kept 1 or 2 out, so it could have been much bigger score. The concern with Spurs, as Alvaro said rightly, is that they are strong against the weak side and very weak against the strong side because they play passive football, and we saw that the weekend. Another concern is that they're going to have an injury, important injury for Son. I wonder whether Mourinho is going to rest Harry Kane. There are important games coming up. He's going to be called up by the England team, so he's going to play 3 qualifiers soon. So probably this is the good moment to rest your main man. Remember, Spurs are only 6 points behind the 4th position, so they can still make it. They got the League Cup final coming up. I think they wrapped it up the qualification. So in this case, I think Mourinho is going to be even more conservative. I still think they're going to qualify. So for this reason, maybe a first half draw. Could be a 0-0, could be a 1-1 in the first half. 227.
Tottenham, the biggest favorite to win the title with Man United, odds 5.0 to qualify. They pay nothing, basically 1.01 the bookies because they think they are qualified already. Also, Granada have the same result as the Spurs. They won 2-0 in the first leg against Molde. That's a great result to all veterans. Well, if they are veterans, they are all for sure. The 2 veterans, Jorge Molina and Soldado, scored the goals. Molde, we know that they are not playing in the league. And Granada, actually, they got a victory in La Liga. The thing is that we thought that Granada could put a battle, that they were favorites to beat the Norwegian team. Now they have the good result. Dani, we saw how Granada defended in São Paulo, in the Diego Armando Maradona. They are very good, very experienced team, so probably that result should be enough to defend.
And it's amazing what Granada is doing in its first participation in a European competition this year. I think qualifying for the quarterfinals, it's above the wildest dream. I think they would never imagine this. And, you know, as Alvaro sometimes pointed out, there is a Granada in the league and a Granada in Europe, but recently in the league, they've been all right. There was a lucky victory. Maybe at the weekend, the goal was a little bit of a scrappy one. Second clean sheet in a row. They are 8th, so they're going to stay in La Liga for another year, deservedly. And in Europe, they can just enjoy themselves. Let's see which team they're going to be paired up in the next round, because I'm sure they're going to qualify. And for Molde, the problem is, you know, a team that hasn't yet started the competitive season back in Norway, I think is always going to be a disadvantage when playing competitive football. They did it well against Hoffenheim, but their limits were exposed by the experience of Granada. I think Granada could be happy to play for a draw in this one. The draw is quite high, 355, so that's quite adventurous. There is an Asian handicap plus 0.25 for Molde, which pays 1.95. So, I mean, if you take your calculator, basically, if they draw, you win the bet. If if they lose, you lose only a stake of your bet.
This Granada remind me to Rayo Vallecano or Alaves that were able to arrive at the very late stages of Copa de la UEFA. UEFA Cup, and Getafe, of course, playing against Bayern Munich. Alvaro, you think Granada could suffer in Norway or not really?
Not really, because I do believe that for a team like Molde that hasn't played any football lately, only European football, it becomes very difficult suddenly to put a fight against a team that is so used to battling day after day or every 3 days. And I do know that Granada can be tired, obviously, because in September they played a lot of football as they had to qualify for the Europa League before they played the competition. But still, I thought that the team would be more knackered at this stage of the competition, and they are actually doing the job very well. Daniele pointed out something. Against Real Sociedad, they got a clean sheet, despite Real Sociedad perhaps deserving a bit more when it comes to expected goals and all that. But Granada is a very professional team, and when they have been in the European stage, in the European scenario, instead of having a complex of inferiority, they have brought up the best they have. I mean, that has been quite amazing. I mean, they have beaten PAOK Thessaloniki, or at least qualified in a group with them, with PSV and Doven. Then they did Napoli as well. So hats off to them. Look, I think that it's a reflection of how good they are. The fact that the Portuguese national team, for example, they have capped 2 players of Granada. I mean, this is Portugal. It's a top national team, and they got Rui Silva and Domingos Duarte in the squad. So, you know, there are some quality players in there, some experienced players as well, like Roberto Soldado, Jorge Molina. So for this game, I am expecting a very professional display of Granada. For example, a clean sheet for Granada, another one, it will be the 3rd one in a row. That pays 3.25, not crazy. And the under 2 goals market, let's say that Granada wants to put a solid display, that pays 2.70. So under 2 goals in this game is something that I do fancy a lot, 2.70.
And Van is telling us that Granada were very lucky to not concede against Molde in the first leg. And this is going to be one of the most exciting games in this round. Over 2.5 goals at 1.9, and both teams to score. Well, let's see if Granada, they were able to defend the result at the Diego Armando Maradona. They have the same result against a weaker team. So let's see. Next one was one of the most interesting fixtures, I think, in this last 16 round. Shakhtar Roma. Sorry, Alvaro, but Roma were way better, and they had a 3-0 result at the Olympico, one of the best performances probably of the season, with El Shaarawy doing really well. They were also a bit lucky because the goalkeeper, Pau, made some good saves, and now they have a really good result to defend, 3-0. Hopefully, they don't play like in Parma because they lost in the weekend. Probably now giving more importance to the European competition rather than the Serie A, but they have to fight for the Champions League. Here, Alvaro, Shakhtar Roma, the victory of Shakhtar pays really well, actually. 3.04. I think these odds are not bad at all.
No, they are not bad at all. I will back that one, or at least I will encourage you to consider that. I think that Shakhtar could be the first team to score in this game. That will duplicate, double up your bet. And there is one that I do like here as well. If you bet more than one unit, let's say that you like betting 100, all right, both teams to score, that pays 168. So you can get a good lot out of both teams to score. We do know that Shakhtar defensively, they proved that they weren't great. They proved that in the Champions League as well. I think that their goal difference in the Champions League group stage was absolutely mental. And I think that, yes, Shakhtar will probably attack, maybe not with the faith that they will be able to go through. At the end of the day, they don't even play at home. They are playing in Kiev, you know. But if Shakhtar attacks and Roma has those big gaps to go for the counter, it's not very crazy to believe that both teams are going to score a goal. So I think that I'm going to keep the both teams to score for the ACCA, and Shakhtar to be the first team to score is something I do fancy. That duplicates your bet. Let's don't forget that Shakhtar can score goals. I mean, it's an exception what happened in Roma, losing 3-0. For example, this weekend they won 4-0. I'm not saying that when they go to the European scenario, they can translate those 4 goals against Roma. But definitely they are a team that if they do something well, is going forward. So I am backing Shakhtar to, at least to put a nice display when it comes to attacking football.
Well, I'm even more confident about Shakhtar doing well. I will actually go for a Shakhtar win, which is 2.86. I think Roma will qualify. And, we need to give credit to Fonseca's men for the way they approached the game at the Olimpico. They got the tactics spot on, a lot of runs in behind the slow defense of Shakhtar. They were good in both boxes, good on set pieces. So absolutely deserved for Roma to go through. However, Roma showed us at the weekend and during this season that as soon as they start making changes, they lose consistency. They have the problem with Dzeko coming back from an injury, and he was not very sharp against Parma. They conceded 2 against one of the worst attack, probably the worst attack in Serie A so far this season. They are missing Veretout, very important in the midfield. They're missing Smalling. Maybe he's back, maybe he's not. That's a really important player for them. Roma can afford to lose, also because the next game at home, they got Napoli, and the fight for the 4th place in Italy, it's hotting up. And the Shakhtar, yes, they showed us sometimes they lack the cutting edge. They create a lot of chances, but they don't have the number 9, the good goal scorer that scores you the stupid goals or loads of goals. But the omens are good for Shakhtar. 3 times they met Roma home, 3 wins. So I'm going to go for a Ukrainian win in this time.
We have very good odds for Shakhtar victory. I'm surprised, and for sure we expect goals. Also, the bookies over 3 goals is paid 2.38. The odds are not really high, but I guess we should expect goals. Talking with about an offensive team like Shakhtar that needs a comeback. Then the most interesting game, I think, in this Thursday. Milan, Man United, 2 giants meeting in San Siro after the draw in Old Trafford. Kjaer scored a header and probably was well-deserved, actually, that draw that Milan got in Old Trafford. Now, still, Man United is a favorite, is even favorite to win this game. Odds 2.26, Milan victory 3.55. Danny, we know actually how Milan struggled at home in San Siro. They lost again against Napoli in the weekend. I don't know how you see this very, very, very tight tie.
Milan at home, especially since at the beginning of the year, they've been quite poor, I must say. But against Napoli, they were a touch unlucky. They should have had a penalty in the last minute. They had chances as well. And remember, they were missing Ibrahimovic. They were still missing Benasser in the middle of the pitch. So the squad of Milan is not that deep. And what they've done so far with the second lines, with the reserve, is quite amazing. We have to remember, this is a team that was in no man's land last year at this stage of the season. However, obviously they lost contact with Inter at the top of the league, and they need to look behind, because again, there are a lot of teams that perhaps in Italy have more quality than them when we look at 16, 17 players. So the 4th spot for Milan is not quite certain, because they seem not to deliver against the top teams. However, against Man U, they did really well. They control the tempo of the game. There are a lot of chances. They were quite resilient. So, it's a very difficult one to balance, considering that, in 5 of the last 4 games, Milan never scored more than 2 goals. And Man United gets back very important players especially with pace. Rashford, as I said, I think in Italy, perhaps the Italian defenses, they're not quite used to be attacked at such a speed, at such pace. So that could be an issue if he plays. Cavani might be back as well. Also, Man United, they are not scoring loads of goals. In the last 6 games, never more than 2 goals, and they only won against West Ham thanks to an own goal. I think this is going to be tight. It could go to extra time. So let's go for a first half draw in this case, 2-21.
And Alvaro, you agree with Daniele? Man United delivers actually when they are playing against big teams. Recently, they even won the derby of Manchester. What do you think here?
Well, I think that Daniele was spot on. The draw in the first half is something I fancy as well. Look, I believe that Manchester United, they are a team that doesn't need to win the Europa League as much as their manager needs to win it. In the sense that, this is a trophy that they won in 2017, as far as I can recall. They are already pretty much qualified for the Champions League. It would be disastrous if they don't qualify for the Champions League next season, considering that they are second in the Premier League. This weekend, they pretty much put a very big distance with West Ham United in 5th position after they beat them 1-0. For Milan, winning the Europa League is not a must, but I think that they will celebrate it more than Manchester United. Number one, because that would guarantee their presence in the Champions League next year. And number 2, because as far as I can recall, Milan hasn't won a big trophy since 2011 when they won the league title. So I think that if anyone needs this trophy, it's AC Milan more than anybody else. Maybe Arsenal almost as much, or Spurs, because they are not sure that they will play the Champions League next year either. So the odds are very favorable for Manchester United. I can see why. At the end of the day, this team went to Real Sociedad to play against Real Sociedad away, and they destroyed them. It's a team that away in the Europa League has been good. It's a team that they got a lot of pace, speed. They can hurt you on the break as well. So I like the draw in the first half. This is something interesting for me. The Asian handicap 0 for Milan is something that you could fancy to 257. Why not? Why not that one? But the over 3 goals thing is my favorite here. That pays 275. And let's don't forget that there are some key players coming back. Daniele can give us the team news, but I think that Ibra and Romagnoli are recovered. I don't know if they will play, but they are recovered, which is very good for Milan.
Maybe Ibra no. Maybe
let's see with Ibra then. Okay. And then Manchester United has so many attacking players that could be back, even though they are still doubtful, no? Like Cavani, Rashford, Martial, Pogba, and Van de Beek. All those, the fitness of all those attacking players will be assessed before the game. So that's why I'm backing so badly the over 3 goals, because good attacking players may be on the pitch. That pays 275.
Ibra will play for Sweden. He's been called again, actually, for the national team. We will see Ibra in the Euro, and that's good. Then next game, Rangers Slavia Prague, same result as the previous one, 1-1 in the first leg in the Czech Republic, and we know that Slavia Prague, they were able to beat Leicester City in the previous round, 0-2, also in the island. So be careful, Rangers, they won the title recently, we know that, and at home they are performing quite good in the Europa League. 4 victories, 1 draw. Alvaro, the odds for Rangers victory 2.3, but it's kind of eye-catching seeing a double chance or an Asian handicap 0 for Slavia Prague actually.
Asian handicap 0, that pays 249 at the time of doing this show, and Slavia to qualify pays 240, and I'm backing those two. I think that Slavia Prague can be as good as Glasgow Rangers. No club in Europe, or at least in the Europa League, has gotten the hang of Slavia Prague. They are going through many rounds, and nobody seems to know exactly why, but they do it. They do have a few players here and there that maybe they don't score, but they really fancy as well, like Stanciu, for example, the Romanian player. In general, they got good quality, and I think that Glasgow Rangers, they have already filled their boots this season, winning the title after going into administration, after being relegated. Steven Gerrard has done such an immense job that that cannot be overlooked. However, maybe Glasgow Rangers feels that the season has been a success already, if you know what I mean, because they got the title after so many years. Whereas for Slavia Prague, this is still work in progress. I mean, they are the best team in the Czech Republic now. Why not to think that they can go back, for example, to a Europa League quarterfinals, as they did in 2019? And since they are a very good team, I'm going to back them. Slavia to qualify, 240, an Asian handicap of 0 for them, 249.
I agree with Alvaro, because in the sense that for Rangers, that sense of satisfaction, of being fulfilled, clearly showed in the first leg, because they started the game appalling. They were so slow, so sluggish. However, yeah, probably, a bit of celebration. I mean, that's all good. When you win a title after 11 years, come on, you can have a drink or two, of course. And I'm sure they had, but I think the Rangers have already done the hard bit, because they went to Prague, they got a 1-1 against the run of play, because McGregor in goal was amazing. He did 2 or 3, 4 saves, incredible. And now they go back to Ibrox in the home turf, where they only lost once in the last 23 European games, of course, most of them with Gerrard at the helm. And they can play for a 0-0 and get qualified. So I think Rangers have got a massive advantage on this game, because they managed not to lose when everything was against them. If we look at the fact that, they might have some key players back, Tavernier, is a defender, he scored 13 goals. There are some strikers that will be jealous of that record in Europe, and other players back. Out of a sudden, you think Rangers might have a chance here, because, again, the mentality, the European pedigree. Do not forget who managed Rangers. He's a man that has been there, has done that as a player in such a tense situations, and he has delivered many, many times. Okay, Sunday there is the small matter of the old firm against Celtic, but that's done and dusted. Who cares if they lose against Celtic? They can go on and enjoy themselves in the Europa League and establish themselves even more as a European, power. I'm going to go for Rangers win in this one, 225.
Okay, Danny goes for Rangers, Alvaro for Slavia Prague. It would have been funny seeing Rangers fan traveling to Prague in the Europa League. I'm sure all the bars in the Czech Republic will be very happy next year. Maybe we see Rangers fans traveling around Europe. Next game, Villarreal, Dynamo Kiev. I was surprised, I have to say, to see Villarreal winning 0-2 with the fullbacks scoring the goals, Pau Torres and Albiol. So they have a very good result to defend at El Madrigal or at Estadio de la Cerámica, and they even won finally in La Liga in the weekend. They beat Eibar on the road as well, 1-3. The odds for Villarreal are very low to win this game, 1.57. And if something we've learned about Villarreal this season is that they are not easy to trust at any game, Danny.
Very difficult, although they won 4 of the last 5, yes, but they were mostly Europa League games. I think, the display in Kiev was really good, because they had chances, they could have scored more. The experience and the quality of some players showed, the experience of the manager, Unai Emery, again, another one who's been there and done that multiple times in Europe. It was important. They do depend a lot on their front two. Gerard Moreno's been excellent so far this season, 17 goals, 10 assists, 3 assists at the weekend. So if he plays, Villarreal are guaranteed a good presence, as well as with Pablo Alcacer. I read the stats about him. 1 goal every 59 minutes at home in the Europa League. So it's almost a guarantee of scoring. Dynamo Kiev, we all said in the previous video, they're very young. This was the backbone of the under-17 Ukrainian team. Under-19 Ukrainian team who won the World Cup in 2019. There are a lot of young players who play for Shevchenko, the national team. They obviously had a disappointing experience in the Champions League. Disappointing because they didn't even have a shot on goal against Villarreal in the first leg. So obviously, yes, they look eliminated now. I think again, because of the way Villarreal approached the game in the first game, I think this is going to be probably done and dusted at the first half. A first half win for El Submarino Amarillo for Villarreal, 2-15.
Villarreal won both legs as well against Salzburg, showing probably the experience of Emery in this competition. Alvaro, you also think that Villarreal will win again this game?
I think so. I think that this is for Villarreal to win it. And in fact, I'm going to keep that for the ACCA because on its own, it doesn't give you a lot of value, only 157. There are a few things here that are interesting when it comes to the knockout competitions that make a difference with the league competitions. What, for example, if Villarreal scores 2 goals, let's say that if they go 2-0 up in this tie, I think that they will, naturally, they will relax a little bit and Dynamo Kiev can put another goal back. Whereas in the league, maybe every club will be thinking, I'm going to keep a clean sheet because this is good for me, for my goal difference. And at the end of the season, the goal difference count. So I wouldn't back Villarreal, for example, for a clean sheet for this season. And I back both teams to score. That pays 195, and I think that is a quite kind of a wise bet in here. Villarreal are doing quite okay at this stage of the competition. They have recovered a little bit, and I don't think that they will end up being in the 4th spot, which is what they got Unai Emery for. And the Europa League is their best possible way of qualifying for the Champions League, probably. It's still too far. They have to win, how many? 5 more games, which is not easy, or at least, get the better of the next 5 games. But, if they want to qualify for the Champions League, it's like Arsenal or Spurs. They have to nail it in this competition. Paco Alcácer probably has set his eyes in the top scorer on the competition. He has scored 5 in the Europa League, I believe, and he has some chances of topping the top scoring table here. Gerard Moreno is playing very well. He's been capped by the Spanish national team, and right now I cannot imagine that there is any better Spanish striker. At the minute, altogether with Alvaro Morata, they are going to probably battle for the number 9 position in Spain. So they've got some interesting players as well. Funes Mori, Juan Foyth, former sports player. Whenever Raúl Albiol or Pau Torres are not there, they are also delivering defensively. So there are some positives to take from Unai Emery's team. As Daniele said, Unai Emery has won the Europa League 3 times, so we have to believe in Villarreal here. So an Asian handicap of -1 is something that I like for Villarreal as well. That doubles up your bet. And I will take those. I mean, both teams to score and the Asian handicap of -1 for Villarreal are my favorite bets. Let's don't forget that Dynamo Kiev is a good team anyway, because they are top in the Ukrainian league. But at the same time, the other day, they didn't look that good against Villarreal. So I think that the Spanish team is set to be in the quarterfinals and, of course, on Friday's draw.
And Vano is telling us Gerard Moreno, goal scorer at any time, 2.05. You mentioned it, Alvaro. Could be another option. He's in great form. Then we have only 1 game left, and this is absolutely done. The tie, Young Boys Ajax. Ajax thrashed the Swiss team 3-0 in the first leg, but all goals actually came in the second half. Now Ajax is favorite to win the game, 2.24, but actually the odds are quite all right. They were able to beat Lille in France in the previous round. Alvaro, would you take these odds for Ajax? Maybe seeing that Ajax and Young Boys almost always give us goals. Also, the over market could be something that we can take a look at.
Yeah, I think that Young Boys scored a lot of goals, and the last time they went scoreless, in fact, was against Ajax in the reverse fixture. Look, they are not doing great in the league. They have drawn the last 4 games in the domestic competition, but they are still topping the table, Young Boys. But we have to say that this is not a team that is doing brilliantly right now in the local competition, and they are losing in the Europa League just because they played against a better team. This is a team that in their domestic competition, they are still topping the table, but they are getting some disappointing results. Look, I think that the Young Boys are paying a little bit here the fact that they are inexperienced. This is the first time they are in this round of the Europa League competition, and what they did against Bayer Leverkusen was already fantastic. I mean, they could put it to bed like that, saying, look, we have killed one of the German giants, And against Ajax, I thought that they were going to at least put a better fight, and I really thought that they were going to score at least 1 goal. Since I do believe that this team relies on their scoring possibilities and their scoring threat, I'm going to back Young Boys to score all together with Ajax here. That is both teams to score, 154. I keep that for the ACCA. And the Ajax to score in both halves, that market is my favorite one for this game. That pays 2.75. And I want to see, for example, if who is going to be the new striker of RB Leipzig. Brobbey is still scoring or not. So, why not to keep an eye on that player, because he seems to be set to make the headlines very soon.
And we were all disappointed last week. We were expecting a goal fest in Amsterdam. We all appreciated how young boys with Siebac, with Fashnak, they create a lot of chances in the previous round. Only one shot on target against Ajax. Big disappointment, but credit to the Dutch champions for showing consistency at home. We said before they didn't have great results in the Champions League against Atalanta, against Liverpool. However, their away forms recently for Ajax in Europe is not great. 4 defeats in the last 5, but they scored 2 and beat Lille away in the previous round. So I think for this time round, they're going to be goals. I think what we saw in the first leg was quite an anomaly. So let's go for over 3.5 goals, which pays 250. Ajax probably could relax a little bit and concede. We know young boys can score, but also Ajax have got very fast players that can hit them on the break.
Bookies expect a lot of goals because the line is in over 3 goals. We have odds for 2.0 for that. So that means that bookies expect goals in Switzerland. Then we have all 8 games analyzed. Danny, let's see your ACCA.
Okay, let's try again, because last week Europa League, remember, let down only by the last-minute equalizer by Kier. And then you say people don't love Milan. Dinamo Zagreb, Tottenham under 2 goals. So Dinamo Zagreb, Tottenham under 2 goals. Shakhtar 1x double chance. Rangers to qualify. Villarreal to score in both halves. Total odds 13.91.
Remember, guys, we will write it down in the description box because everyone is excited always about the ACCAs. Alvaro, yours?
I think that Daniele and I have had a couple of discrepancies here, and one of them is that Tottenham will not play with Harry Kane. Daniele thinks that he won't, probably Mourinho won't play him, and I do believe that even if he doesn't play, Carlos Vinicius has been scoring so many goals in the Europa League that Tottenham can score many this time at Zagreb. So I'm going for the following. An Asian handicap of -1 for Spurs. Both teams to score in the Shakhtar Donetsk against Roma. Villarreal to win. And both teams to score in the Young Boys versus Ajax. That will pay 12.59.
Okay. We have some discrepancies. Then our audience can pick up their bets in all the analysis that we've done. Thank you, guys. And remember, please leave a comment in the video saying your opinion, if you agree with Danny, with Alvaro, and you will have the chance to win a £10 free bet with Novibet. And do not forget, if you enjoy our videos, to support us by clicking the like button, subscribing to our channel, and click on the bell to get all the notifications. If you prefer listening to the videos in the podcast, you can also hear us in any podcast. Then, guys, see you very soon. We have more European football after the international break. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.